I would like to welcome Todd Angeli.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch, who were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Good evening and welcome to the 13th Annual Revere Beach Memorial. Please help us continue to make this annual event a warm and touching experience. Please consider making a donation. Michelle will be walking around with the donation box. Thank you. Do we ever really think about what it means to listen? Listening is a skill that some people work harder at than others to achieve. Most people do not listen to understand, but they listen with the intent to reply. Tonight, I would like to challenge each and every one of you to listen. The message that we have is worthy of your time. The message that we have deserves your ear. People begin to heal the moment they feel heard. Listening is active, and your reaction can make a difference to someone tonight. Current national statistics indicate that for every individual that dies tragically from an overdose, there are 4 people left behind dealing directly with this loss. The numbers here tonight suggest to me that the numbers in Massachusetts, the numbers in Revere are higher. The numbers suggest to me that we have many more mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, daughters, sons, husbands, wives, friends, and colleagues that have been directly affected by loss from addiction. Those who have suffered the loss of a cherished loved one from addiction find themselves thrust into a lonely existence. The world continues. Those around them live. But as one suffering with loss, they just exist until their voice is heard. So please be present and listen. Encourage and listen. Support and listen. Learn about addiction and listen. Be available and listen. Remember what Dalai Lama said, when you talk, you are only repeating what you already know. But if you listen, you may learn something new. I would like to invite Felipe.
Hello, everyone. My name is Felipe. Thank you for allowing me to say a few words about my brother John. So we grew up right down the street here in Beachmont in Ford's Village. My brother John was the oldest by 2 years. I remember from a young age that John wanted to be an only child. And how do I know this? Because my parents told me that when I was born, he was jealous, and he used to try to punch me through the crib. But things got better from there, I think. He really never liked sharing his toys. But if you had a toy he wanted, it was okay for him to borrow it. Go figure, that was my older brother. I remember one time he had all his G.I. Joe figurines all set perfectly on his bureau. I waited for him to go out with his friends, and I decided to play with them. I ended up breaking one of them, and when he came home, he beat the crap out of me. I always admired John. He had a real go-getter, fearless attitude. At the age of 15, he started working at the Burger King in East Boston, and he was able to buy himself anything he wanted. He had this motivation, this drive. I always envied him for it. And that motivation and drive was who he was as a person. He always did good in school, and if he wanted something, he would get it by working hard. He always had good jobs for good companies. He always liked having nice things, always had nice cars. And I remember one summer, all his friends had motorcycles. So John also wanted one. My mother hated the idea, and I thought it was the coolest thing. They would all go out as a group all the time. Like I said, I was more conservative, so I always looked up to him for having that lion attitude. One day he comes home and says to me, "Felipe, why don't you get a bike?" I said, "I probably can't even get out of first gear." So he convinces me to go outside and get on his bike. It was the funniest thing ever. I drove around the block in first gear the whole time. But there he was next to me, believing in me. And that was my older brother. That was the first and last time on a motorcycle for me. John had a big heart. He was always willing to help. And if you asked him to do something, he was right there. He loved his daughter Ashley and his nieces with all his heart. He enjoyed them so much, and they were his pride and joy. He was so proud of them and was always giving them advice about life, and they loved him back just as much. I stand here today because I believe we need to educate others that people with addiction and mental illness are somebody's father, brother, son, mother, sister, daughter, etc. I think people forget that sometimes. In the end, we are all sinners, saved by grace. Jesus says in 1 John, "A new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." And we should never forget this. And I'd just like to thank you for giving me a moment to share my story. And I'd like to thank a couple of people that were by my side through this difficult time. I'd like to thank Joe and Nicola, Kevin O'Hara, Chris Alba, Carrie Ann Salemi, Michelle, Gary, Julia, and Jen, everyone at the studio office, Great Rock Church in Danvers, and the Immaculate Conception Church in Revere. Nobody can do it alone. It takes a community. Together we can make a difference and help one another. Thank you for the opportunity to share my memories. God bless you all.
One by one, the toll bell rings, the waves crashing nearby as we read each name and the silence it brings. Our loved ones are here with us. We keep them within our heart as we light a candle to honor their lives. We know they are never far apart. So many are gone and their lives cut too short from a disease with no cure and demons of sorts. As we reflect on another year gone by, let's stick together to memorialize. Footprints in the sand, angels nearby, as we gather tonight with tears in our eyes. The music plays, the candles blow out. Let's remember their love as we go through another year without. The circle of life has no beginning and no end, for one day we shall meet again. Thank you.
We're going to start lighting the candles now. we have a poem that's called Four Candles. The first candle represents our grief. The pain of losing you is intense. It reminds us of the depth of our love for you. The second candle represents our courage to confront our sorrow, to confront each other, to change our lives. The third candle we light in your memory for the times we laughed, the times we cried, the times we were angry with each other, the silly things you did, the caring and joy you gave us. The fourth candle we light for our love, we light this candle that your light will always shine as we think of you each day and share your memory with our family and friends. We cherish the special place in our hearts that will always be reserved for you. We thank you for the gift your lives brought to each of us. We love you. We remember.
Good evening. Thank you for being here tonight. If you register a name at the end of the event, it may not come in alphabetical order, so just so you know. First name is Matt Adario. Tiffany Ann. Brother Agostini. John Aguilera. Suki Allen. Holly Altry. Ann Andridge. Robert Arsenal. Jack Avalone. Jason Barganier. Kara Barker. Keith Barr. Ricky Bell. Christopher Belois. Michael Bennett. Bree Bergeran. Karen Lynn Berry. Dan Bigg. Russell Boucher. Paul Bora. David Bowden. Mel Brazo. Jason A. Branya. Chris Cheeks Brown. Lenny Brown. Corey Bullard. Alan Burns. Michael Kane. Jill Renee Caro. Thomas Cahill. Eddie Capillo. Brett Carboni. Daniel Carboni. Kelly Carrigan. Brian Carusa. Jamie Catanazzo. Kevin Cesari. Robert Salona Jr. Swanee Chen. Jaslal Siak. Paul Cimpiello. Karen Cimpioli. Christopher Clark. Gino Caginelli. Wayne Collins. Michael Costella. Danielle Crane. Mark Crane. Brian Cronell. Vernon Cremer. Bo Crocker. Danny Crowan. Eddie Cruz. Jose Cruz. Corinne Triska. Rocco Consolo. Jason Daniels. Chris D'Orazio. Stephen J. Daigle Jr. Clyde DeBay. Donna Delaney. Michael Delaney. Rich DeMaio. Michael DeMarco. Frankie Dente. Adam DePaulo. John DeSalvo. Donna DePresco. Tony DePresco. Andrea DeSorbo. Lori Diaz. Mike DiGiantomaso. Michael DiGiantomaso Tutorio. Gia Diagicomomo. David Dill. Dino DeSalvo. Jason Doherty. Jesse Doherty. Jillian Doherty McLaughlin. Daniel Doncaster. Kevin Dunn. Jason Dunnan.
Tiffany Edwards. Crystal Edwards. Brendan Ellis. Gabriel Elliott. Mickey Falta Rivers. Frankie Farrell. Adam Federico. Davar Figliolini. Dave Figliolini. Louis Rocky Filomeno. John Finicom. Jen Fiorentino. Janelle Fisher. Michael Floyd. Robin Floyd. Michael Frasca. Daniel Frometta. Anthony Gadman. Paul Gallagher. Janelle Garland. Danny Garnett. Joshua Gauthier. Stephen Gauthier. Deborah Giannatasio. Mike Giantomaso. Michael Gillespie. Neil Gillis. Sal Giuliano. Kervin Good. Lauren Goodwin. Zach Green. Erica Grover. Betty Grungo. Betsy Guzman. Jordan Haddad. David Hall. Gail Hannon. Joseph Hanscom. George Hanton. Robert Hardy. Caitlin Hart. Stephen Harrington. Edward Hedrington. Ricky Heffron. Kenny Harrow. Lee Higgins. Jimmy Holcomb. Sean Hurley. LaRusha Harris. Daniel Emmerman. Adam Ismail. Michael Ilvaldi Sr. Richard Ilvaldi Jr. Christopher Johnson Jr. Christopher Johnson Sr. Stephen Jonas. Michael Jones. Cheryl Dalton Jones. Josh Joseph. Robin Justice. Samantha Keegan. Justin Kelleher. Eileen Kelly. Pegleg Caravan. Barbara Caravan. Bobby King. Greg King. Christopher Kerstad. Michael Krabby. Bobby Lacentra. Brendan Landry. John Ladner. Paul Laramie. Rico Latarella. Chad LaPierre. Chloe Laporte. Donna Levitt. Anthony M. Labrassiere. Jennifer Lee. Penny Leno. Erin Leventhal. James Patrick Lewis. Chucky E. Libby. Cassandra Little. Maguire Lucido. Derek Lyons. Frank Lyons Jr. Christopher Lyons. Eric Eaton.
Ali Machado. Justin McClellan. Dennis Madolo. Paul Vincent McCleckern. Jimmy Maggiano. Edward M. McGuire. Michael Mahoney. Anthony Manfra. John Martin. Mike Mastrangelo. Robert Matranga. Chris Matthews. Jill McAvoy. Dorothy McConnell. Scott McGinnis. April McGrath. Joseph McGrath. Adam Mara. Colt Meredith. Corey Merrill. Andrew David Mishi. Josh Miller. Scott Miller. Alexandra Milroy. Jason Mitchell. Paul Mitchell. Kelly Monaco. Matthew Monaco. Anthony Morales. John Michael Morse. Greg Mullen. Stephen Murphy. Dennis Murphy. Michael Murphy. James Nooner. Keith Nickerson. Andrew Norton. Robbie Nunez. Jason O'Keefe. Charlie Oliviolo. Lenny Orlandello Jr. Casey Ortiz. David O'Rourke. Kate Pacheco. Michael Palazzo. Scott Paradise. Donald Parent. Bobby Parker. Ambrose Pascucci. John Petrillo. Ralph Petrillo. Michael Petrillo. Ray Picard. Robert Pierce. Tony Ponte. Russell Presto. James Pizzeni. Bobby Policiano. Christine Popolo. John Popolo. Scott Quinn. Dania Quinones. John Quish. Vic Restiano. Taylor E. Richards. Joel Riley. Jeannie Rivera. Papo Rivera. Frankie Ravicchio. Dominic Rizzuti. Joseph Roach. Morgan Roberts. Amy Ribeiro. Barbara Rojevich. Ronald Rondia. Roger D. Rondia. George Rowland. Justin Rutkaskis. Judy Ryan.
John Paul Saley, Richard Saravia, Robert Saravia, Sean Saravia, Tom Swati, Andrew Scabilia II, Jamie Scanzillo, Brendan Scalazzi, Anthony Scott, Shane Scott, Craig Scott, Joseph Saforza, John J. Shoup, Philip Signorino, Yasmin Silva, Danny Silverman, Maureen Simone, Zach Sloan, Patricia Smith, Anthony Smith, Sandra Smith, Robert Smith, and Ray Smith. Will Sommer, Michael Sparks, Billy Stewart, Michael Stewart, Tina Stewart, John Stetson, Alan Stone, Robert Stone, Christopher Strong, Steve Statuto, Gerald T. Sullivan, C.J. Surratt, Amy Swanson, Jennifer Swanson, Nikki Sweeney, Sean Sims, Keith Tedesco, Chris Texera, Glenn Theobald, Mona Thiel, Philip Thomas, Derek Tiven, Jimmy Tedesco, Michael Tedesco, Vincent Toscano, Ryan Tripp, Kayla Trizzle, Jason Trombley, Leo Turco, Ricky Turco, and Robert Bugsy Davinas, Jason Vasquez, Stephen Veda, Scott Veda, Eddie Veda, Joey Venziza, Gino Ventimiglia, Christopher Walsh, James Michael Waltz, Casey Washburn, Paul Weed, Sean Welch, Jeff Winkus, Denise Winsley, Josh Witherby, Thomas Whalen, Kathy Whitehouse, Eddie Wierzinski, Douglas Wilson, Chrissy Woodward, Valerie Adilla, Joey Yurko.
Please join me in the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as the pathway to peace, taking, as he did, this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that he will make all things right if I surrender to his will, that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with him forever in the next. Amen.
Richard Zarpolo.
In closing, I invite you to extinguish your candles now. If you have a luminary on the bandstand, please feel free to grab it and take it home in remembrance of your loved one. Let us leave remembering those we have lost and those who will still battle this disease, giving them the strength and hope to enter into or maintain their sobriety. Good night to all.